What's going on, swim fans? Welcome back to Whiteboard Wednesday. In today's video, I'm sharing with you Swimming Terminology 101. But don't think this video is for beginners who are trying to understand all the mechanics of swimming, because I'm going to walk through 6 different categories of swimming terminology, including the basics, like the different stroke abbreviations, workout terms, and training. But we're going to go a little bit more advanced. We're also going to talk about different technique terminology, equipment, and some different swimming slang that you might hear on the pool deck. If you guys are new here, what's going on? My name is Coach Ferris, and here on the channel, we're here to help you take your swimming to the next level. So if you want to swim faster and smarter than ever before, you've come to the right place. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, let us know what questions you have down below, and maybe some of that swimming lingo and terminology we may have left out. Let's go ahead and get right into it with the basics, stroke abbreviations. When you see a workout, whether it's structured or guided in the MySwimPro app or anywhere else on the pool deck or online, you might often see the strokes in their abbreviated format. So we have all the different variations, most of them that you might see, including FR for freestyle, FLY for butterfly, BK for backstroke, BR for breaststroke, and IM short for individual medley. These are the most common stroke types, and these are what you can actually compete in a competition. There's a lot of other variations that you might see. One of them might be something called FrIM. FrIM is short for freestyle IM. So if you have a 100 FrIM, normally that means you'll drop the butterfly and you'll do the rest of the IM as fashion. So you'd go freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle. If you do a 200 IM, you drop the butterfly, replace it with freestyle. So you go 50 freestyle, 50 back, 50 breast, 50 freestyle again. Great way to mix up your training. Then we have K, which is short for kick. P, which is short for pull. That means you're shutting off your legs or you're using some equipment. We'll talk about that later. Then you have something for D. D could be short for drill, and drill is simply a focused segment of swimming. So if you do a 25 drill or a 50 drill, you're focusing on one specific thing with your technique. You may or may not use equipment for that. And then 2 other variations you might see, ST and CH. ST is normally short for stroke. That could be any stroke, really depends on the coach and the environment that you're in. So you can mix in any of the strokes. Then you have something called choice, CH, and that's similar to stroke, but some coaches in different training groups use those a little bit differently. So if you're new to a team, make sure you talk to them and see exactly what they mean when they say stroke or choice. Now let's get into the next level, workout terms. So when you're at the pool and you're doing a workout, if it's a guided workout, you're gonna see a lot of different variations and different things explaining how to do the actual set. So that is a structured workout. So a structured workout means you're doing variation. Continuous swimming is not a structured workout. So if you go to the pool and you swim for 30 minutes at a time, or you swim 1,000 meters straight, that means you're swimming for distance and you're not following any structure. And so if you want to swim faster, I always recommend and advocate that you incorporate some element of structured training, so that way you can get the variation, and there's a number of benefits to following a structured workout. Now the next level is a guided workout. Now a guided workout simply means that your workout has even more structure and you're actually following a systematic progression through the workout or a series of workouts over time. So if you have an Apple Watch or a Garmin smartwatch and you're using the MySwimPro app, you can actually have a workout that's structured, guided through the pool, so that way you have a swim coach on your wrist guiding you through the workout every single set of the way, telling you what to do, what equipment to use, what interval you should go on, all those good things. So that's a guided workout. Then you have something called interval training. Now interval training is really important to understand, and I have a beautiful example here on the whiteboard. So let's talk about this interval training. So interval training is the foundation of guided swim workouts, structured swim workouts. And so in order to understand how interval training works, I created this little diagram that breaks it apart. So if you're looking at the MySwimPro app or most structured training groups around the world, you're gonna see something like this. You're gonna see a number, which represents the number of reps, times a distance, and a certain stroke explanation of what you would do in that distance, at symbol, an interval. And so here in the example, I have 5 100s freestyle at the 2 minute. If we break it apart, the 2 minute is your actual interval. So that represents our interval, and the interval represents your swimming time and your rest time. So in this example, for a 2-minute interval, if you swim 1 minute and 40 seconds for that 100-meter distance, that means you have 20 seconds to rest, and your total interval is going to be the 2-minute. In other words, this set right here should take 10 minutes to complete because you're doing 5 rounds of 100 meters at 2 minutes, and that includes your swim time and your rest time. This is really important to understand because this interval really depends on how fast you are. So some swimmers might be able to do 5 100s on the 1 minute and 10 second and get 10 seconds of rest. That would mean you're a pretty fast swimmer. Other swimmers might do 5 100s freestyle on the 2 minute and 30 seconds and only get 15 seconds rest. That's why it's really important to understand how interval training works. And not only that, that's why the MySwimPro app is so awesome, because these intervals will actually change based on how fast you are and progress as you get faster as well. So definitely something to check out. Now let's get back to the terms. We have a set and a set group. So I just explained what a set is. This right here is a set, the collection of how many reps you do over what distance and the interval and the stroke type. That is one set. Additionally, in the MySwimPro app, each of the different sets will actually tell you what equipment to use and how much effort you should apply in that specific set. So there's a lot of attributes that go into this specific property, which is one set. Then you have something called a set group. Now a set group is simply a series of sets, so it's more than one set. Now this could be a set group of one set. If you just add another set, let's say we have 5 100s freestyle in 2 minutes, and then we're gonna do 4 100s freestyle on the 155. Those two sets would be together one set group. And you can even have multiple rounds of set groups. So you might see a workout that says this set, then another set, and you're gonna do both of those twice, and you'll go in succession. Next, we have the components that make up a workout. So most workouts will have a warm-up, a preset, a main set. They may or may not have a post-main set, and then they'll have a cool down. Now, most workouts of any variety will have similar components. The warm-up is normally something to get your heart rate elevated, engage different muscle groups and energy systems. The preset is designed to prime you for the main set. So if it's aerobic, you might be doing something longer in there. If it's more speed in the main set, you'll probably get your heart rate up a little bit more with shorter distances in the preset. Oftentimes, your drills and technique work is going to happen in the preset. You may or may not have a post set in your workout. Oftentimes in competitive swimming, you'll do things like starts or at race pace or broken swims in the post set, and then you have the cool down to flush it out. Our next segment of swimming terminology has to do with actual training. So when you train, there's a few different attributes you might see on a specific set in a workout. Let's break it down. You might see something that says build. And all this means is you're increasing your speed gradually throughout the distance of the set. So let's say you saw, instead of this example, let's say you saw 1 100 freestyle build. So you're not gonna do 5, you're just gonna do one of them, but you're gonna build. So every 25 meters, you're gonna get a little bit faster, and you're gonna make sure that the final 10 meters are faster than the first 10 meters. So you're gonna build your speed. Then you have something called best average. Now this is a good example where you have 5 100s freestyle. Best average means you're going to average the same time on every repetition, and you're going to do it to the best of your ability. Now this is actually an effort level in the MySwimPro app. So some sets are actually assigned the best average energy group, and that effort level is basically telling you to go as fast as you can, but you have to maintain each repetition just as fast as the one before it, and you have to do that within the interval that's recommended by the workout. That's what best average is. Then you have descend and ascend. Descend and ascend refer to the time of your swim. So if you have 5 100s freestyle and they are descend, that means each one you're getting faster, you're descending the time. So in this example, 5 100s freestyle on the 140, if on the first one, on the 2 minute. So if on the first one, we went 1 minute, 40 seconds. On the second one, let's try and go 138, 136, 134, 132, and you'll descend your time. Ascend is the opposite. So you're gonna start out at 132, 134, 136, and you're gonna get slower throughout the set. Different training reasons why you do those, but those are two examples that are the inverse of each other. You might hear on the pool deck something called a lactate set. Lactate is just referring to this energy system of anaerobic training. This is where you're doing maximum effort and you're producing lactic acid in your body. You're gonna feel really, really tired. You're gonna feel actually sick if you do this for a long period of time, and it's designed to train at or above race pace, really focused on on performance. A few other attributes to training, you have something called negative split. So back to the example, if you had 100 freestyle, negative split simply means you go faster on the second half than the first half. This is a little bit more common in longer swims. So if you're swimming a 500 or 1,000 meter distance, or even a 200, you'll want a negative split to train your body to swim faster on the second half compared to the first half. I already mentioned aerobic training and anaerobic training. So anaerobic training refers to that lactate. So you're really pushing your body in shorter distances and you're hitting one energy system, whereas aerobic training is something you can do pretty much every single day. And that's why swimming is great for your body, because when you do aerobic training, you're basically doing longer swims at a slightly lower heart rate and you're maintaining that over a longer period of time. 3 more for you. We have hypoxic training. This is referring to breath control, breath work. So if you're doing 25s or 50s or 100s, whatever it is, and you're breathing every 3 strokes or every 5 strokes, you're limiting the amount of oxygen you have for an anticipated result. Maybe you're doing 25s or 50s where you go halfway underwater, streamline, push off the wall. That's hypoxic. You have something called taper. This is towards the end of the season, very common in triathlon and other endurance type of training, where you'll basically reduce the amount of volume you're doing and either maintain or increase the intensity and focus of those swims. Gives your body a chance to recover because you're doing less volume. And then you have something called base training. Base training is what you do maybe in the middle or beginning of the season where you're starting to build a foundation. You're normally doing higher volume and you're setting the groundwork so that you can taper at the end of the season. Let's move over to this side of the whiteboard. We're getting to the fun stuff at the end of the workout, including the swimming slang, so stick around for that. Let's talk about technique. So when you're doing a workout, you'll often see different types of terminology thrown out, including streamline. And let me tell you this, streamline is the most important word in swimming. If I ever quiz you guys, streamline is the key. Everything is based off of streamline. The technique, the training, it's all based on streamline, and that's a very fundamental position to be in. It starts with your fingertips all the way through your toes. You want your body to be as stable and still in the water. You're like a steel rod or like a missile or a torpedo going underneath the water. That's streamline. You'll hear something called distance per stroke. That's DPS, and that means you're really focused on your swimming efficiency. You want a lower number of strokes you take per length, and you do that by increasing your distance per stroke, the distance traveled per stroke. That's sort of inverse to your stroke rate. Your stroke rate is simply how fast you're moving your arms and legs, the tempo, the speed at which you're conducting your strokes. If you increase your tempo, you're probably gonna take more strokes and you're gonna have a lower distance per stroke. So those kind of work inverse of each other. You'll also hear something called a lap split. Now this is the actual speed at which you finished a specific rep. So in this example, 5/100s freestyle, in the 140, that is your lap split. So that is the split. Now you can have a lap split within that 100. So maybe at the 50 mark, you were 48 seconds. So you're 48 seconds on the first 50, 52 seconds on the second 50. Total time is 140. So you have the split and then you have the lap splits underneath that. Then we have our SWOLF. This is a measure of your swimming efficiency. And things like the MySwimPro app will actually show you what your swimming SWOLF is if you swim with an Apple Watch or a Garmin watch and you just follow any kind of guided workout. It'll show you your SWOLF by set and by set group and by the entire workout, and you can see how you're progressing over time with regard to your swimming efficiency. Let's talk about bilateral breathing. Whew, this is a good one. Bilateral breathing means you're breathing on both sides. So every 3, 5, or 7 strokes. You can breathe every 1 stroke, but that would mean you're breathing literally every single time your arm moves. Normally swimmers are breathing every 2 or 4 strokes, but if you breathe every 3, that's called bilateral breathing, and it's something great to incorporate if you're focused on improving your balance and efficiency. Then we have 3 different kinds of turns. We have a flip turn, and that's a somersault. That's more traditional, you'll see in freestyle and backstroke. You have an open turn, and you'll do the open turn with a 2-hand touch for breaststroke and butterfly. Then you have the transition turn, and the transition turn is where you're doing it in the IM. So there's a few flavors of that. You've got butterfly to backstroke, and that's an open turn. You have backstroke to breaststroke. You may have seen a bucket turn, that's something will be used for that, or a crossover turn, 2 different versions of that, or you can just touch the wall and push off on your stomach. Then there's the final turn in the transition in the IM, which is breaststroke to freestyle, and that's an open turn. Fly and breast with the open turn, you gotta touch with 2 hands. Let's move into equipment. Equipment, here we go. We got fins, paddle, snorkel, pull buoy. I listed out the 4 most common pieces of equipment that you're gonna see on the pool deck that I encourage you to use. You might say, you know what, I really never see a snorkel, but I see kickboards all the time. Kickboards are also a common piece of equipment that are used, and that's something that you will use for kicking primarily. I actually do not recommend using a kickboard because most of the time you can do the same thing, streamline kick on your back, on your side, or on your stomach. So definitely there are ways to use a kickboard, but I encourage you guys to really focus on kicking in streamline, and you can use some other equipment, toys for that as well. You might see a parachute on the pool deck and you think, why is someone swimming with a parachute? That sounds like complete torture. And the parachute and the power tower are versions of resistance training. This is really designed to increase your resistance in the water, kind of like lifting weights out of the water. And when you reduce that resistance and you get rid of the parachute, you feel like $1,000,000 and you feel super fast and powerful in the water. Final piece of equipment I'll list on here. There are dozens of other pieces of equipment, but can't really fit them in this whiteboard and in the video. The monofin. Just like a mermaid or a merman, whatever it works with you, you're gonna have basically 2 giant fins that are glued together and both your feet slide in. You can't do freestyle, you can only do a dolphin kick, flutter kick, you can only do dolphin kick. And that's a great thing to work on your underwater kick as well. Now let's get into the fun stuff, the swimming slang. Now before we do this, I know that you guys have probably a ton of questions. It's okay, let me know down below in the comments. And maybe, just maybe, there's a lot of things I didn't talk about in this video, especially when we get into the next section, swimming slang. So there's a lot of different terminology you might hear on the pool deck by a coach or other swimmers. And if you're new to swimming, you might feel intimidated and you don't really know what's going on. My goal is to help you feel less intimidated and to feel more comfortable here in the pool. So let's go ahead and break it down. On the top. What? What top? Where's the top? Top of what? And really what coaches are referring to is the old school analog version of a clock. If you have a watch, look at this, I have an Apple Watch, doesn't even show me that. But you can see the arm of the clock is basically ticking every second, and when it gets to the top, the clock is resetting. And so when a coach is saying start the next set on the top or on the up, what they're referring to is the clock simply meeting at the top. Beautiful drawing. Give me a like for that drawing. Thank you. So that is on the top. Now what about on the bottom? So as the clock is ticking, the bottom is at 30 seconds. So that's at 30 seconds. And there, that would be leaving on the bottom or leaving on the down. And the reason why you want to use an analog clock example is because it's a lot easier to count 2 minutes or 1:55 or 2:05 when you start on a 0 or on a 30, because sets normally end in 5-second increments, just to make the math easier. Of course, things like the Apple Watch and the Garmin watch with the MySwimPro app, you don't even have to worry about it because it automatically tells you when to go. And so you might hear the expression, but with technology, maybe that'll go away over the next few decades. Then you have last one, fast one. This means race pace. It's time to go. You're at the end of the set and you got to give it your all. You want to feel like you can't even get out of the pool. You worked so hard. That's what we're talking about. Last one, fast one. Sally save up. So you want to go fast on the last one, but do you want to be the Sally Save Up? What I'm referring to, poor Sally, whoever has that name in the swimming pool. Basically, you're going slow on these 5 100s, and on the last one, you saved up all your energy and you blow it all away. And you make everyone look slow on the last 100, the last 50, the last 25. Whatever set you're doing, Sally Save Up is there, just slugging along through the pool, and you get to the final set and you get to the final rep, and boom, out of nowhere, you have an Olympian show up, and it's incredible. Except they didn't really put in the effort in the beginning of the set, and that's why they're coined Sally Save Up. Everyone's got a Sally Save Up in their lane, it's okay. Next we have circle swimming. This refers to the way that you share the pool, share the lane with other swimmers. If you have the lane to yourself, you can swim right down the middle, you can swim on the side, you can swim diagonally, do whatever you want. But if you're swimming with 2 or more people, you're gonna need to think about circle swim, not really think, you have to circle swim for safety. That means you swim down on the right, back on the right, just like you drive a car. Now for my friends down under and in other parts of the world, you actually do this in reverse of a lot of the other parts of the world. So you might swim on the left side all the time. If you go to an international competition, really interesting to see what happens. Next, we have swimming sides. If you're only swimming with one other person, it's often better to just swim sides. You stay on the right, they stay on the left. You stay on the left, they stay on the right. You can do independent strokes, don't worry about it. That's one way to break it up. Then you have LCM, SCM, and SCY. These represent the different pool lengths that you might see in the world. So LCM is the Olympic standard, 50-meter pool, And you're gonna see that at the World Championships, long course. It's often called long course, and what we're talking about is a 50-meter pool. Then you have something called short course. Short course is the short course meters, SCM, and that's a 25-meter pool. And there's one more flavor of short course because the Americans, myself included, we're the weird ones. So we have a 25-yard pool. I know, who does that, right? So that's what SCY is. So we only are 4% of the world's population, but we've got some good swimmers. So hopefully you guys respect the 25-yard pool at least a little bit. So those are 3 different versions of the pool. Most of the time you're gonna see 25 meters and 50 meters. For the Americans, you're gonna see a 25-yard pool. And you might also see some 30-meter pools in parts of Europe and other parts of the world actually. So that's actually the pool that I learned how to swim in, was a 30-meter pool. Fun tidbit, we'll quiz you guys later. Now before we go, I have an awesome workout that I wanna walk you guys through that incorporates all of this stuff. So if you want to see how it works in practice, I pulled up the MySwimPro app and I looked at the workout of the day, and I've got it right here. No real modifications. Just remember the intervals I'm going to show you guys are actually a lot different for me than they might be for you because the app automatically changes the intervals based on how fast you are. So let's run through it. We got a 300 freestyle to warm things up, and you can see the different colors on the side. That represents the level of effort that you're applying. They're color coded. They also incorporate the different things that we talked about, like build, descend, ascend, the equipment. It's all incorporated. So after the 300 freestyle, we're gonna do 450s kick with fins. Now those are fast. We're trying to put in some effort. That's why they're on the 140. The preset, we're gonna go a 300 freestyle with paddles. Then we're gonna go 450s freestyle at the 40. Now those are gonna be with a snorkel. It looks like they're a shorter rest interval. The 40 is pretty good pace. And then we're gonna go the main set. The main set, we're focused on speed. The name of the workout is Need for Speed. We're gonna go 450s, maximum power on the minute. Then we're gonna go 100 freestyle active recovery with a snorkel and with paddles. That's on the 120. Then we're gonna go 150 active recovery, nice and easy on the 130. And we're gonna do that set group 2 rounds. So if you remember, I talked about an individual set. Here in this example, we have 3 different swimming sets, and that whole set group, we're doing 2 rounds. So we're gonna repeat the 450s, the 100, and the 150. Finally, we have a 300 cool down at the end. In total, it's a 2,000 meter workout. If the intervals are as fast as the ones I have, you're gonna do it about 45 minutes. Maybe this workout takes you an hour, but in case you wanna change the workout and go up or down in volume, you can dynamically slide the workout in real time, and you can use the slider to adjust, and you can see the swim gauge starting to manipulate as we make it shorter and longer. If you like this workout, make sure you check out the MySwimPro app. It's available for iPhone and Android, and you can download it for free. You can activate the MySwimPro coach, and if you want that personalized training experience, it's all there in the app on your Apple Watch or your Garmin smartwatch. Final shout out, if you're not in our Facebook group, it's the biggest digital swimming community in the whole world. So I hope I can see you guys in there. Thanks again for watching, and happy swimming.